Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, which is a review of the Trinidad TB-21 GT by Lionheart Creations for Flight Simulator 2020. Something I like to nickname the Ferrari of the skies. Okay, so we're set up on Donegal Airport in Trinidad. I'm just gonna call it Trinidad because it's a bit of a mouthful, the full name. Get something out of the way first. As a disclaimer, I got this as a review copy from flightsim.com. Hopefully by the time this video is released, my written article will be released on flightsim.com. So go and read that. I'll link it in the description when that is released. And also I shall put in the description where you can get this module, which is flightsim.com shop, where you can buy this. The Trinidad comes with, I believe it's 22 different liveries. I'll show you a bit of a preview of that on screen. So whichever livery you prefer or want to display or want to have, you can go wild with this. There's a whole load of them in there. I preferred this colour livery. Nothing significant about the name of it. It's just the one I prefer the look of. But like I said, whichever one you prefer, you can go wild with it. The Trinidad also comes with a good meaty manual, a good thorough manual. Lots of pages from everything from specifications of the aircraft, from cold and dark starts, from takeoff speeds to landing speeds. Goodness knows what, a very good, thorough and informative and enjoyable manual to read. When I installed the module, it comes in the form of an exe file. Point it towards your community folder so it installs there, and then the manual popped up and I just enjoyed reading it. I found it very informative, and it's very much a welcome item to have with this aircraft. Okay, while we're in external mode, let's show you some of the external features or the external modelling. It's quite a small aircraft, the Trinidad. It's, I believe it's smaller than something like the Cessna 172. So there's not a heck of a lot to see, but what is there is displayed and modelled beautifully. You can see all these different markings and rivets. It just looks very nice, very nice. You can see, if you like the undercarriage, if you're an undercarriage freak, you like undercarriages. Not something that I specifically go for, but I can appreciate when an undercarriage is done well. These are modelled beautifully as well. You got writing on the tyres and goodness knows what. These actually retract into the aircraft itself. When we take off in a moment, I'll show you these retracting into the aircraft. It's a beautiful sight to behold. Another thing I really like are the avatars, or the virtual pilots. You've got a pilot and a co-pilot. And in the spirit of equality, I believe that's a male and that's a female. So there you go, you can't complain about that. Yeah, externally, as you can see, the sort of exhaust there and the propeller, very nicely modelled indeed. No complaints there at all. I would give that a 9 out of 10, even a 10 out of 10, just very nice. Let's jump into the cockpit. And the detail continues in the cockpit itself. feels a very nice plush cockpit. Nice details and textures throughout. All little bits of different information you can see there. You've got a mixture of analog dials and digital displays here. So fans of the sort of analog airspeed indicator, vertical speed indicator, HSI and goodness knows what, artificial horizon. Fans of that will love this. You can see there, while this is flush to the cockpit wall, the co-pilot one is sort of slanted inwards, which is a nice effect. I like that. Nicely carpeted. Like I said, nice textures throughout and very highly detailed. Let's go down and across here. You've got your sort of nav radios. You've got an autopilot panel here. Very plain and ordinary, but highly functional and very, very easy to use. I'll show you more of this when we're airborne. I do like this autopilot panel. I got confused first when I saw these lights here, thinking how do I turn them off, because they're non-clickable, but the lights are actually down here. So you got things like a nav light there, taxi light. You can see the lights changing in the cockpit as well. Various of these different buttons do that. There you go, different lights and effects. Lots of different things you can play with. You got a trim wheel down here. I use a button assignment on my flight controller for trim, but if you wanted to, you could do it manually here as well. So I put it into takeoff trim. The cigarette lighter doesn't work, so we won't be smoking cigars on this video. As you can see, the back seats are even nicely modelled. Very nice interior. Looks very luxurious, very plush. Just very nice. Just adds to the whole atmosphere of the aircraft. Just very, very nice. Anyway, I'll tell you what we'll do. We shall throttle up, release the parking brake, and go for a flight. Okay, so before we take off for a flight test, let me just show you something else. I'm going to open the door here, left door. These doors are all interactive. So as you can see, it's sort of delayed when we went into external view, so you can see it opening. And you can get a closer look at your pilot. Let's do the same to the right door. So click to open that. Go external, slightly delayed so you can see it opening, which is a nice touch. And again, you can get a good view of your co-pilot. So very nice. So that's enough playing around. Let's go back in. Actually, you can see that I do enjoy doing that. Opening and closing the doors and then zipping out to external view to see them opening and closing. Same for that one. Wonderful. So very interactive. I could spend 30 minutes to an hour just playing with all the little buttons and features inside this aircraft. Enough playing around. I'm at flaps 1, throttle up, release the parking brake, and let's just go for it. I'll do a sort of rough loop of the area. Remember our heading here, I think that's south to north or north to south. We'll come back on that when we come into land, hopefully. Around 80 knots, I'm over 80 knots now, is enough to take off. Raise the landing gear, and of course we've got to go external to see that going into the body of the aircraft. Look at that. And now it's all plush and neat. Isn't that beautiful? Going a bit extreme. Raise my flaps. Nose will want to drop. About to say I'm going a bit extreme in climbing there. Now already we've just taken off. Let me just trim this down. We're already at going up to 160 knots. This aircraft is like a rocket. I'm going to throttle back a little bit. And I may have to throttle back a little bit more so it doesn't start overspeeding. Goes like an absolute rocket. It's why I nicknamed it the Ferrari of the sky. Let's just relieve pressure on my yoke so I can just trim this out. That'll do for now. Not only because of the speed, but because of all this luxurious sort of surroundings of the internal of the aircraft as well, or internally of the cockpit, in effect. Absolutely lovely. So I'm going to show you a turn here. I'm just going to bank to our left here. I'm just going to aim for a point where I feel I want to bank at, and I'm going to let go of the controller and it will stay on that rate of turn. With other aircraft like the Cessna 172, I'll talk about that more in a moment. Currently still my favourite aircraft in the game is the Cessna 172. But with those you have to keep messing around and touching up the controls to keep that sort of rate of turn or that bank. With this one, just turn it, leave go, and it will stay in that rate of turn, which is fantastic. And to straighten up, just straighten up, it feels like the aircraft is assisting you in the turns. And I've got to say, it feels lovely. It just feels like it wants to hold your hand and ease you through those turns. Turn, bank, and just leave it. Let go of your flight controller. Straighten up, let go of your flight controller. So lovely to fly. Some people may not like that assistance. It's kind of like a fly-by-wire system, it feels like has been added to the aircraft. I don't know if the real aircraft is like that. My feelings are it probably is. Just gonna have to throttle back a bit more. Like I said, this is going like a rocket. We'll soon be hitting that 180. I think the cruise is roughly around the 180, but we'll try and keep it around 160-ish, 170-ish. Just lovely. Just want to turn a little bit. Don't need to fight it. The aircraft will assist and stay in that rate of turn, that bank. Straighten back up again. Don't want to be flying in these mountains, so I'm just trimming up, nose up, so we climb over them. Absolutely lovely. I'll tell you what I'll do. Whilst we're here, I'm going to jump down to the autopilot, put it on autopilot, just click the autopilot button. I want my alt to say to go to 2,000 feet, so I'm just using my mouse wheel on that alt knob, 2,000 feet. Press the up key here, and you can adjust how many feet per second, per minute rather, it will climb to 2,000. So I'll put it on 400 feet per minute vertical speed to climb to that 2,000 feet altitude, and in autopilot it will just do that. So easy. I went through that pretty quickly. It doesn't matter. We're going to clear these mountains. This could end our video rather quickly. Just about. So I timed that just about right there. That's okay. Phew. As you can see, it's raising up. Once it reaches that 2,000 feet altitude, the vertical speed will start leveling off like it does in many autopilots. Just so easy to do. If you had a course set up, press the nav button, it will follow your course. That easy. Very, very simple. I want to raise my altitude maybe a couple of 100 feet more, and it should keep us in our... may have to press up there because it started to level us off. When that happens, just press the alt to turn vertical speed on, and then it will go back to our 400 feet per minute. And that's enough. That's enough of the autopilot. In fact, I was just showing you how simple that autopilot is. There's many features to this aircraft I've not touched upon. I've not played with too much. I did show you before you had those sort of analog dials for the fuel quantity and voltages and oil pressure. All very nice, all different knobs. I've not messed around with the comm systems much. The manual walks you through all that. It walks you through a cold and dark setup. Walks you through taking off, landing speeds, and goodness knows what. Go and read that. Go and buy this and read that manual. It's fantastic. I've got the autopilot off, so let's start controlling our altitude. Actually, let's start turning. I'm doing a sort of rough, what do you call that now, lap to get back onto the airport. Heading. So I believe the airport is somewhere over there. I'll know better when I'm nearer to it. I believe it is. Okay, I was actually quite way off course since I last left you. With the help of the VFR map here, I've now relocated Donegal Airport, hopefully. I've actually got my throttle less than halfway at the moment. I'm going to start trimming up. I don't want to descend too much here. Just get this right, straight and level as best I can. I want to start slowing down to about that 120 knots, so it'll be roughly around here before I can safely deploy flaps 1. Still some way out of the airport, but I might as well start prepping now. There's Donegal Airport. So absolutely, pull my throttle down. It's about a quarter employed at the moment. Told you, this thing wants to move like a rocket, this aircraft. Should come down to that 120 anytime soon. It's about 123, 120. So any time for flaps 1 now is fine. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Go and look at the manual if you want to do things step by step, absolutely precise. I'm me, so I'll do it the way I normally do it. Oh, about, I don't know, a sixth employed throttle at the moment. Really low throttle now. Just to sort of level out and get that speed to around the 100-ish knots mark. Even though I've got little throttle, you can still see this aircraft is still wanting to move. Get it to around the 100 knots mark. I want to put down my landing gear, which will be fine here. Beautiful animation again on the landing gear. Beautiful. And just to give you a feel of how it feels when you're coming in for approach to an airport and how easy it is. You see an airport late, you can still configure your aircraft. Right now I can go flaps 2 if I want to. I will do soon. Get it around to around that 80 knots mark. 70 to 80 knots for landing, which is good for this aircraft. Why not? Flaps 2. Still can't quite see the runway, so maybe slightly off. Gonna have to cheat a little. Yes, now I can see the runway. I can see it late there, but that's okay. Gives you an idea of how you can still configure yourself. Let's get rid of this map now. We don't need it at all. Maybe a little bit more throttle there. I don't want to be too slow. And now just adjust the throttle to descend or climb. Descend at the moment. Coming nicely lined up with the runway now. Maybe a little bit more throttle. I don't want to go down too much. And a little bit of descent. Not great. Not the best lineup for a runway. For a landing rather. But it'll do. I'm just going to use my yoke now, my flight controller, just to pitch for landing. Yeah, I'm slightly off the centre line there, but never mind. Oh, should have floated a little bit. Should have floated, but never mind. Gives you an idea. Now I'm just using my brake. Look how quickly this aircraft wants to slow down and stop. Literally, you can stop the aircraft on a sixpence, as we say in the UK. Lovely. Going to be flying this aircraft a whole lot in the future. As you can see, I had to quickly alter my course there. No issues at all. Let's raise our flaps. And come off the runway at any point. Doesn't matter for this particular video. I'll come off and park up. Tiny amount of throttle to taxi. Really just want to power up and take off again. Can we get off here to our right? Likely. Is that I thought I saw a... Oh, it doesn't really matter. Tell you what, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a Hodison video. What do you expect? Let's put our parking brake on there. We've come off the runway, that's fine. I thought I saw a taxiway there, but never mind. My eyes were deceiving me. Look, for $24.95, I'll put the link to where you can buy this in the description. It's a steal. Absolute steal. If for some reason my review copy of this was revoked and I had to buy it, I'll go and buy it. Absolutely, I'm loving it. $24.95, it's about £20. If you're paying in euros, it's somewhere between that 20 to 25 euro mark. Not quite sure of the conversion. Absolute worth buying. You get a ton of liveries. Absolute lovely detail on the outside. Are my pilots still alive? Yeah, they're doing okay. Absolute ton of detail on the external model. Internally, it looks beautiful as well. If I was going to pull off marks, detract marks anywhere, I prefer the Cessna's field of view. You've got this sort of the frame of the aircraft cutting off some of your field of view. Not a big issue. Turn left or right, you get an excellent field of view. It's just that sort of frame there. It actually makes it feel more cozy. It's a tiny aircraft. I would imagine it's highly accurate to the actual aircraft itself. It does feel very different to anything else I've flown in Flight Simulator 2020. And that for me is a big plus. Very controllable, very easy to fly as well. But in the same way, you've got to watch that throttle. It does want to take off. And good for cross-country jaunts. Yep. Complete recommendation from me. But let me know your own thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. And I'll see you soon.